Welcome back to the Prophletics podcast. I'm still your host. I'm still here. Let's get right into some boxing immediately. I'm not even going to waste any time. Let's get right into some boxing because there's a lot of bull crap going on out here, i.e. Floyd, Mayweather, and Logan Paul. Why? Why is this happening? Well, I'm going to give you a multitude of standpoints of why this BS nonsense fight is happening. So, from one standpoint, I was listening to 50 Cent's audio book, Hustle Harder. Very good book, by the way. Very good audio book. And he got onto the point of talking to how Floyd is bad with money. He said that him and Floyd had a real bad falling out when they first, started becoming friends or whatnot, because what 50 did was take a look at what Mayweather Promotions was at that time, which is Floyd's, boxing promotion company. 50 said there was no LLC, there was no separate bank account. Pretty much the business sense of everything wasn't in line. So 50 said he was going to take it upon himself, to line things up for Floyd or whatever, yada, yada. Long story short, they ended up having a falling out because I guess Floyd didn't like, how much money was being spent to set up, the corporations and everything, which had to be set up in order to legitimize the business. So, in summary, 50 said that Floyd, is bad with money. And in this book, Hustle Harder, he said that when you see these exhibition fights come up, Floyd is, quote unquote, going broke again. Or, losing a lot of money. Or, is being reckless with money or whatnot. So, is it a money grab? Absolutely. Is it an ignorant fight? Absolutely. Does it make any sense? Absolutely not. For a man to have retired from the sport of boxing at 49-0, come back and, make the cross the threshold fight to fight the first MMA fighter, one of the great MMA fighters, and bring him in the boxing ring and, do what he did with him for his 50th fight, and then come back and start fighting these random guys like, the guy overseas or whatnot, the Asian guy overseas. And now this foolery right here, to me, it's tarnishing a legacy. Like, if you're going to retire. You undoubtedly went out as one of the greatest defensive fighters, if not the greatest defensive fighter of our time. We witnessed greatness. We witnessed you take the most minimal of punishment. Like, we've seen him get caught with a couple of shots, but not nowhere near as bad as it was, with fighters prior to him. Fighters back in those prior days had pretty bad defense. They would take one to get one. And he did it the best as far as evading, not getting hit, and also his connect percentage. He wasn't going to sit there and waste shots and throw at the air and things of that nature. He had an astute connect percentage. So for you to tarnish that by coming back and fighting, these no names and YouTubers, pretty much a robbery. You might as well put the stagecoach out there and the 6-shooter as far as the gun, because you're robbing the people. These venues and these places, and here's the other perspective. These venues and these places are honoring these fights over money. The venues don't care. They don't give a damn who they get in there to fight, just as long as the house is being filled and they're getting the money back from, the COVID pandemic losses and things of that nature. As long as they got asses and seats and tickets being sold, they don't care. And what better person to get in there than an not Instagrammer. What does this guy do? And that shows you how much attention I pay to these guys. I just now found out that, they're twins and, whatever the case is. But, a YouTuber with millions of followers, millions of loyal followers or whatnot, who will come in there and fill those seats, or who will buy and stream online, just as long as the revenue is being calculated. That's all they care about, not the integrity of the sport of boxing, because there's no integrity in this sport. Which goes to the next point. Why would people in these arenas and stuff honor these bullshit ass fights? Because boxers are taking too long to line up the top fights. Once again, it goes back to the other principle. It only needs to be one championship belt per weight class. Champions should fight champions. Think about how long it's taken Errol Spence and Bud to line up. Think about how long it's been since Teofimo Lopez was back in the ring. He's back in there soon sometime or whatnot, but I lost track. Like, why aren't you fighting? That's because these sanctioning bodies, and for those who don't know, the sanctioning bodies are the WBO, IBF, WBA, and WBC, which are the three letters that go before each of these belts. So there are 4 in each weight class. 4 in each weight class. Why do you need 4 champions per weight class? 1 belt per weight class. But anyway, because it takes long and super long, people lose interest. I'm not going to sit here. Think about how long it took for Floyd and Pacquiao to fight. That took the longest. I mean, even though Floyd was still fighting, champions or whatever, people were like, hey, back in 2009, like, hey, this fight needs to happen. That fight didn't happen until what, 17? Something like that? Or whatever? Listen, boxing is taking way too long and they're dragging ass. So therefore, they're letting these entertainers come in and, take the ranks and, have these fights or whatever. Like, we still don't have a certain date for the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight. The politics of boxing is ruining the integrity of the sports of boxing because it's the money grab behind it. The money's ruining it all. The fighters just need to fight. It's really sad. And for Floyd to do what he's doing right now, be it called an exhibition or not, it's still utter trash. It's an embarrassment, especially for a boxer of his magnitude. Like, some people honor it and say that's what you're supposed to do when you retire. Get out and, get your money, go make you a big payday or whatever. But I highly disagree. Highly disagree. Especially for something like a gift like that we haven't seen. There have been boxers in the past that have had great defense but haven't had the offense. There have been fighters in the past who have had a great offense but never had a great defense. He had the best of both worlds. The best of both worlds, and he's coming back to fight a YouTuber. I'll be back after this.
Yeah. Prophecy, what up? Soul of the streets. Some real niggas in here with me too. Know what I mean? Yeah. Let's end a discussion after this piece of work. We'll turn to lean and perks. At times I really need a church. Never talk about them cold bodies unless you seen it first. Yeah, we got secrets that's gonna lead the earth or see the hurts. My mama dropped the king and that was me at birth. Shorty bragging like I'm the best, but she ain't seen the worst. Boxing the devil, but I gotta crush these demons first. I got a baby named Tay, I guess my semen work. Beat it twerk, paces is shorter than my diva skirt. Yeah, I can eat a verse, but hustle like who need to work. Trying to ride my way when they can't even surf. Fresh, I might say you hit the cleanest first. Glock 40 might be dirty, you was clean at first. Hope your actions match your aggressions like some jeans and shirts. Nigga, you wasn't down with the team and work. No breaking bread with you, you ain't believe at first. You ain't been through what we been through with no fam facts. You ain't know me with no AC up in that damn lack. On mama garage trapping, it was jam packed. A wall of fame we used to build with the fam man. He took the stand on his man, but I can't stand that. Free the real, I got niggas in that can black. Plenty women know my status, I'm the man, Jack. She stopped texting when he home, I guess a man back. I ain't mad at you, got me feeling pop with it. It ain't no biggie, they doubted, and I'm not tripping. No pun intended, my liver telling me stop sipping. Blow a big L for the grace that's at the top chilling. And my feelings never hurt, no, they ain't on my sleeve. That's on the B, if you don't eat, then we gotta leave. 24/7 on the grind, we ain't got no sleep. A lyricist who with that trap shit, I'm out to leave. All phones blowing up when I'm out to eat. Shorty asks what I'ma do, I'm like, you bout to see. I seen this bumming when I used to buy the ounce for 3, count to 3. If she ain't fucking, then get out the seats, gotta mean. A lot of Henny, but a lot of lean. Threats, we shake them off and worry about not a team. I love the grind, it's definitely not a fling. With the coke in the booth, hey yo, who gotta sing? I know when rappers congregate, I smell a lot of pink. Signed they soul and started bugging for they dropped the ink. I ain't gotta shrink, bada bing, bada boom. Don't post by the goons if you're not close to a tool. Know the roles and the rules, took the oath as a youth. Play the post with the moves and turn ghost in the few. Blowing smoke in the coop, clouds go through the roof. Focus know I'm the truth, they pray and hoping I lose, let's go.
First song that I've played that hasn't been me. Hey, yeah. Round of applause, right? That's my man C Green out of Houston with Fam Facts. I actually produced that for him. I forgot I had it, but I'll go back in my archives and things of that nature and find what it is that I have that I've produced that has nothing to do with me on the vocals. Anyway, let's get into the next topic. Alpha males. And why I don't subscribe to the notion. I don't subscribe to the notion of alpha males. In today's society, we live in a very soft society of men as to where guys who are doing general male activity want an extra pat on the back. So these self-proclaimed alpha males are doing general shit, like things that we're supposed to be doing naturally, right? We're supposed to protect and provide for our families. And a lot of you dudes want a pat on the back for that or a cape thrown on your back for that. Like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to. No, that's supposed to be in our nature. You're doing what you're supposed to do naturally. That doesn't make you an alpha male. And for you to disclaim someone else as a beta male or whatever, it's ridiculous. Most of the people, 99.9% of the people who proclaim themselves as alpha males are not alpha males. By my definition of what I think an alpha male is, even though I don't subscribe to the notion, you're doing regular shit that you're supposed to do naturally. How does that make you an alpha male? No, that makes you a man. Can we be a man first? Can we be something besides some type of classification? Like everybody wants to be something nowadays. Everybody wants to be woke. Everybody wants to be an alpha male. What's the other one? Everybody wants to be an empath. Everybody has to subscribe to some type of notion or some type of title or everybody has to be in some sort of sub-classification. Classism itself is shitty. Lower, middle, upper class. But then we've got to divide it even more. It's classification or classism within religions. You've got Christianity, then you've got different denominations and all of this stuff. Like, man, can you focus on just being a good human being? Is that so fucking hard to do? You got to fit in somebody's social circle. You got to have somebody's label. You got to have somebody's title. You've got to have a title. An alpha male. Some of y'all think being an alpha male is just walking around telling a woman what to do, beating on your chest, coming home putting your smelly ass feet on the table or something like that while she cleans up behind you like some sort of slave. Making your woman, your wife, or whatever subservient. You're not no damn alpha male, man. Like the dumbest definitions ever. Stupid. I mean, yeah, that makes you a piece of shit because you're not valuing anyone else's lives. You're not valuing your partner's life. You're not uplifting her. You're not building her. You're not trying to see the best come out of her. But you're an alpha male. You come home and dinner better be warm and whatever. Or I'm going to tighten her up. Man, look. That's why I don't really like the alpha male correlation or whatever. It's corny. It's corny as hell that you have to give yourself a title in the first place. You have to tell yourself, I'm an alpha male. I paid the bills on time this month. I'm an alpha male. There's a roof over their head. There's electricity on. I'm an alpha male. I put gas in her tank. You're not a fucking alpha male, man. Now, there are influential individuals out here who naturally take the role of leadership and, positive influences like your Malcolm X's, your Martin Luther King's, which I think he's an alpha by Greek Divine Nine, group organizations or whatever. But yeah, there are people who are natural like leaders or whatever, in which the public does gravitate to them as far as, natural leadership qualities. They are admired. I mean, if you want to call that an alpha male or whatever, or give it some sort of title because y'all like titles and names and CEOs and LLCs and man, let me get back to that in a minute. LLCs and all that, all of you who are just starting your businesses and all. But yeah, y'all like to have titles with your shit instead of just being a naturally good human being. That's what annoys me about a lot of community service too. I'm about to go on a tangent, man. I guess that's what this podcast is for, right? To go in on tangents. When it comes to community service things or community service deeds, you just got to have your letters on. You just got to be repping your organization. It's this organization who does this and this organization who does that. How about y'all take the letters off and just come out in some regular t-shirts, black t-shirts or something, and just be great human beings doing some great shit. It's always got to be titles or classism or something like that. And when you do that, you remove the opportunity for others who, want to come out and help you out. So let's say that it's the Omegas doing a yard cleanup or some Earth Day or something, and y'all going up and down the side of the highway, picking up trash or whatnot. What if somebody who's not a Q wants to come in and help? They can't help, right? Because they're not part of the organization. You got your and this is nothing against the Qs, but I'm speaking against always having your letters on when doing good deeds. Be a good human being. It's that easy. Separate yourself from titles, people. Separate yourself from titles. Seriously. It's ridiculous, man. And back to the other tangent I was going to go in on. Yeah, I might save that till after this break. Let me go in on these LLCs and all this stuff after this break.
Left me the crumbs and told me eat with them. Yeah, extraordinary street nigga. I know mama was hoping I'd be bigger. From where they barely read scriptures and youngins gon' squeeze triggers. E&J and MD, raised off of cheap liquor. Superficial associates try and get deep with you. That's too deep, nigga. Now let me speak with you. Another nigga's main still get you to creep with her. Another nigga saying so get you to meet prison. Plus a lot of niggas lanes not made for deep dishes. Now the streets wicked. Tell me how's we living. I express it through the bars, but I only got 3 minutes. And I met a lot of bros who be living for free interest. And got a lot of scores for awards that we mentioned. Please nigga. Left me the crumbs and told me eat with them. Left me when I was down, got up to be with them. And at the end of the day, I still lead nigga. Yeah, that me, nigga. The game cold, I know these niggas will fold if they had. I know they would fold if they had my life. His homie told and sent him up the road, see that? Told on his partner, now he gone. Yeah, these diamonds froze to the hate they can't control. They want it, they can't. Okay, want it. Listen, harder than survival of the fittest. All artists not surviving, no forgive me. How hard is it to pivot? I started independent, ain't got far as I envisioned. Ask myself, what? Is it because my heart is in the picture? I wrote my thoughts down, I know martyrs who ain't listen. That turned to gang banging when they fathers all went missing. The squadron on the mission, so pardon all the sipping. I added all the stresses, really started my division. When young ain't got a problem, he gon' solve it with a pistol. Now knowing 60 aggers with that robbing probably get your best friend got caught lacking. Popped him by his sisters, and ain't nobody slide when he would ride for all his niggas. His mama at the funeral was sobbing by his pictures. And right then you decide if you want to turn into a hitter. I loved a few women, one turned into a stripper. I dapped up and hugged the last time I even tipped her. Life is all a gamble, you gon' chill or you gon' risk it. Don't get too many chances, you gon' move and you gon' miss. The game cold, I know these niggas will fold if they had. But never believe what I seen. His homie told and sent him up the road, see that? Shit. Talk about it, nigga. These diamonds froze to the hate they can't control, they want it. Yeah. Ready. Another Henny shot, ducking these petty cops. They smile in your face, but behind you they sending shots. I'm in a game that my uncle told me to never watch. Used to complain until I wrote pluck, let's get them out. Some stand up niggas got cases that sit them down. F's in them L's, them judges forget a vow. Sure they think I'm a sweater, can't never go get a towel. Nah, I can't never go get a towel. Unless it's for a body right after I dig it out. My actions always spoke, don't know what the lip about. Back ballin' on you bitches, debating for giving doubt. I'm debating. Nah, can't debate, I'm the nigga now. A real boss go get a bag and it trickle down. I got some homies gone, but through me they living now. Smash on the gas, don't know what the limit bout. Big bags of the cash, you know what I've been about. Had days on my ass when I couldn't go get an ounce. You knew me back then, you definitely know me now. Yeah, the game cold, I know these niggas will fold if they had. Light one up for my nigga Blanco. His homie told and sent him up the road, see that? Free all the real guys and the real ones. You know, these diamonds froze to the hate they can't control. They want jealous envy. You know, feel me? Fam up.
Yo. That is also my man C Green out of Houston, Texas. Also produced by me. Like I said, I'm going to go back and find all of these songs that don't have my vocals on it because y'all probably sick of hearing my voice the whole time, huh? Doesn't matter. But anyway, let's get into these LLCs. My black folks and LLCs. Why are y'all getting LLCs so fast? Why are you getting an LLC before you even have a product to sell? Y'all are so attached to titles that y'all are becoming, CEOs and LLCs and all these other acronyms before you even have a product to sell. I don't even know what the hell 85% of y'all are selling. But you're such and such LLC, such and such. I'm sure it's with the limited liability corporation, your product is limited. So nobody's going to come after anything that you own, as far as a liability because you're not even selling shit yet. Have you built a customer base? Like, man, y'all are really, really, really jumping the gun. Y'all are jumping from A to Z, forgetting about B through Y. A sole proprietorship will do you all fine for the first however many years. Like, I started my sole proprietorship legitimately maybe 5 years ago. No, 5 years straight. And then I jumped into the LLC game like in 2019 or whatever. I've been doing training for over 10 years. It doesn't make any sense. Y'all just want to say that y'all are CEOs and LLCs and all this other stuff or look pretty on the business card. Like, that's one thing I can't stand about social media. It's causing you all to skip the steps and the necessities that it takes to get to that point. Everybody wants to get to the damn finish line. What are you selling? How much revenue have you generated? When y'all go try to open up that business bank account, guess what? They're going to ask you, how much money do you generate? When y'all file for business loans or whatever, they're going to ask, what is your revenue? If you're not generating any revenue, don't worry about the LLC. The LLC can come later. The title and the fancy business cards and looking like a $9 million business person online, that shit can come later. Y'all just this wanting to look good shit on. Yeah, the internet has ruined a lot of the structure of true business, true principles in general. As long as y'all got a blue check mark and some followers, shit, y'all are on it. Give me the LLC, CEO, all that crazy stuff. It's slow down. Slow your roll, youngin'. Build a base. Build some customers. Travel. Fail. Because you haven't even failed enough to be looking towards an LLC. Like, a lot of y'all are scared to fail. You want to get into a business, but you're scared to fail. You haven't, done any of the footwork. So, yeah, slow down. Slow down, people. Now, with that being said, I want to talk about working hard, but with a balance. And what I mean by that is the workhorse in our society is the most praised individual in the world. The person who works 16, 18 hours, works their entire life away. But they have no work-life balance. They come home and barely even know their children or barely know their wife. Trust me, I suffered from that for a real long time when I first converted from, working in corporate America to working for myself. I had to work from 6 to 2:30 to provide, sustainable employment while I was working my 9 to 5. But in order to build my business around it, I had to work before work, build my business before work, during lunch, and afterwards. You will miss a whole lot of time doing that. If you're going to do that, it needs to be short-lived. Take that from me. It needs to be short-lived. It can wreck everything. It causes a disconnection within, your marriage. If you're married, especially with me, I already had a family. So I had a wife and 2 kids. So I was missing out on all of that time, over that 1.5, 2 years of, no sleep, no really seeing my wife, no really seeing, and that causes doubts, with me being gone the entire time, her mind can wonder like, hey, what the fuck you doing out here? Whatever the case is. And, seeing your kids, growing, you not being there, that shit can, add up on you really fast. So what I suggest is, firstly, work with balance. Slow down. Slow down. I think the happiest people are the people who have figured out how to make the most money in the least amount of time, because they're able to work less and still have a family, work balance. There is nothing greater than me actually being able to take my kids to work not to work, take my kids to school every morning, see them get off the bus when they come home and be here when my wife is here. In between that time, I have compounded my time as far as being able to train my clients super early in the morning, which that's the sacrifice. I have to get up mad early in the morning. I mean, mad early, and get to work early so I can go ahead and knock my workout and get my other workouts in, and, be able to, be home for my family. That makes me a very, very, very less stressed person, But the workhorse is praised way, 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 way too much, in my opinion, here in the States. And the workhorse is somebody who works their life away and doesn't even have really much to show for it. Even in corporate America, the more money you make, the less that you do. The person at the bottom of the totem pole is working their ass off, while the top shots are, they got their golf strip in the fucking office, or whatever. They go take these crazy 2 to 3 hour lunch breaks or whatever. You never see them in the office or whatnot. Why the person at the bottom of the totem pole is working their ass off. It's corporate America, man. So in summary, what I'm hoping that you would do is try to figure out how to compound and make more money in a shorter amount of time. I think trading time for money is the biggest robbery in the world, because you can't put price. You can't put a price on nobody's time. You can't tell me what I'm worth an hour. You can't tell me what I'm worth an hour. That's ridiculous. I think that's the biggest robbery in the world. I think you should trade your skills for pay. This is just my personal feeling. You should trade your skills for pay, not your time, because you can't get your time back. Your skills, if you put your skills to work, you can actually compound that into a smaller window of time. Now, skills can be, a skilled trade as well, too. Like, your plumbers, your welders, your HVAC techs, your automotive techs or whatever. They can make an insane amount of money in a small amount of time. They could fix 2 or 3 cars, or maybe one big car job or for automotive techs, and be done for the next couple of days or whatnot, compared to somebody who has to trade time for money, i.e. such and such amount per hour. That's robbery to me, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to offend anybody, but I'm trying to give you a different perspective on how to maximize your life. A lot of people trade hours for money. Then they come home, they're too tired to spend time with their family. They've dealt with people for these hours of time who they can't stand, who they want to choke, who they want to beat the shit out of, who are stressful, who don't do any work and pass their work off to them. And all this, they've dealt with a headache for 8 to 10 hours. And then you bring that negative stuff home. Look, it's really not worth it. All right. It's really not worth it at all. So yeah, man, that's the extreme tangent I'm going off of on that for the day. This will conclude the podcast for the day. Like I've told you before, share this podcast with your people. Click that share button. Tell somebody about me, man. Or, share it on YouTube, iTunes, Google Podcast, Spotify, all of that, man. Let's get this podcast thing going, man. Oh, yeah, send me some topics that you might want me to go in on, be it fitness related. I don't think I talked about anything fitness today. But anyway, I'll talk about fitness. I'll slightly talk about politics, slightly, because like I said, my opinion is very unpopular. And tell your music friends to send me some music, not just rap either. Send me some soul, some R&B, some neo soul. I'll play anything that sounds good. Send it to prophletics@gmail.com. I appreciate you all tuning in. Peace.